Hello and welcome back. I'm Sandy with Sandy's Organized Chaos, and it is vlog day today, so happy to see every single one of you. So last week we got started on rhinestoning. Now today I was going to get started on my other bit of tumblers that I have to do. I have to do 20 more wood grain tumblers, but the weather is just kind of poopy today, so I'm not going to do that today. But I do have a tumbler that I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to show you guys how I did it from start to finish in today's vlog. Now these tumblers are all done. They're ready to go. I got to take them inside, scrub them up really good, and these are going to be off to their owners this week. So I'm going to go take these inside, get them washed up and ready to go. And while I do that, I'm going to show you this tumbler that I have in mind. So let's go. So I'm going to be using this, I can't remember what it is. I think it's a 16-ounce stemmy. I don't know. I'll put it in the description box for you guys. But I went ahead and I spray painted it this three-tone color. I used a satin sea glass for the top. I used a blue lagoon, there we go, for the middle, and then just like a shiny metallic for the bottom. So for the base, I am going to go ahead and I mixed up about 20 milliliters of epoxy, and I'm going to add a little bit of SOC sparkle dust and teal, and I'm also going to add some of these bubbles here in a second, which I'll show you guys. But the reason why I'm doing a voiceover is because I'm going to be doing that technique that we went over a few vlogs back, where I spray paint the wet epoxy. And so I have my door wide open. I have like lots of fans going, so that way I have really good ventilation in my craft room here. So that's why I'm just going to do a voiceover for this. But that's what I added into my epoxy. And then I'm going to go ahead and add all 20 mLs of that epoxy to my tumbler. The reason why I want to add so much is so that way when I add that spray paint over top, it's just like adding any type of additive to it. You want to have enough epoxy so that way everything has enough room to kind of sink down into that epoxy, and it won't leave a sticky mess when it's all said and done. So it's pretty much just like adding, you know, any type of additive to it. So you just want enough epoxy so that way everything kind of smooths out for us. All right, so I went ahead and put it onto my turner, and I'm going to hit it up really good with my torch before we move on to the next step. Because you for sure do not want to use this torch after we start spray painting onto it. So I'm going to take the same gold that I used for the bottom, and I'm just going to kind of lightly spritz around the bottom with that. And you don't have to do this part. This is completely optional. This is just something I want to do. You could even do the power wash method with this if you'd like to, but I really like how this turns out in the end. It really looks kind of like hammered metallics onto it. So you just want to do very lightly, not a lot at all. You just very light, spritz, 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 and that's all you want to do. Then I'm going to come through with that blue lagoon and kind of do the same thing, just very lightly kind of spritzing a little bit of that spray paint onto my tumbler. And then I decided to come through and add a little bit more gold to it. So I'm just going to spritz a couple more times right around the center there. And again, you want to be very light-handed when you do this, just a couple spritz and that's it. Because if you add too much of this spray paint to it, it won't cure properly. So you just want to add just a couple spritzes. That's it, and you should have a nice smooth surface when everything's all said and done. So to kind of break up our surface a little bit, I just have some rubbing alcohol in a spritz bottle. There we go. My camera was moving around on me. So now all I'm going to do is take that rubbing alcohol and I'm going to spritz the surface of my tumbler with this rubbing alcohol, and as you can see, it's going to kind of break up that surface tension, and it's going to give us a really cool pattern. And I can't stress this enough that I am in a very well ventilated garage. My garage door is open. I have lots of fans going. If you are not able to be in a very well ventilated area, I highly suggest wearing a mask, having your windows open. You definitely want to do that for this process. Now, when I'm all said and done, I'm going to take that paper and I'm going to completely remove it from my craft area. I don't want that in my craft area anymore because it is very stinky. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to take it outside, I'm going to throw it away in the garbage can outside so that way it isn't around anymore. Then I'm just going to go ahead and let that cure, and then we're ready to move on to the next step. All right, so this is what I have so far of that tumbler. It's right where I left off. I accidentally forgot to spray paint this top part because this was going to be something else, but then I decided to go this route with it. So you know, it is what it is, but I'm not completely bothered by that. I think what I'm gonna do is maybe I'll put some rhinestones up there too when everything's all said and done. So I think what I wanna do with this is make it like that present that we've seen everybody doing, like the present tumbler we've seen everybody doing, but obviously more of a kind of beach theme to it. So I printed out some watercolor turtles on clear water slide paper. I'm gonna put some of those around, and I think I'm gonna use this vinyl here for my like bow stuff around the center because it's like clear, and I thought good colors to kind of go with what I'm doing. I can't decide between the light or I think I'm gonna do the darker blue. So one will go across, one at top to bottom. So I think that's what I'm gonna do with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that started. All right, now that I got that all cut out, I cut it as close as I could because these are just like clear backing. So, you know, you didn't have to cut too close. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a stripe around the center and a stripe going on the back. So in order for it to, because this has a little bit of a curve to it, I had to stretch it and pull it up as I did it. So that's all I did there. And I kind of segmented this piece off just to kind of help me finish it off here. So I'm just gonna line that piece up, trim that back. Let's see where my line was. And it's okay if this particular stuff overlaps. I mean, you can't even really see a difference. So, because it's like watercolor look to it. There we go. So all I want to do with that is just make sure that I come through and burnish it down really, really well. All right, now I'm going to do the center portion here and just take it and kind of stretch it. And then I'll go down the center with it, and then I'm going to start to burnish it off to each side to make sure that it fits that curve. And if I need to, all you got to do is come through and make slits where it's kind of up a little bit there, and just do that to make it fit. Okay, there's another one right here. Let's do that. Again, just burnish it down. Okay, I'm just gonna do the same thing on the back. Now I'm just gonna eyeball it. But if you need to, you can put the cap back on and have it all lined up. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. There we go, about right there. Let me double check. Sure, maybe over just a little, but right there. Okay. And do the same thing, stretching it, pushing down the middle, and then burnishing off to each side. Just kind of warm it up with your fingers. If you need to, make those little slits if you need to. This side didn't need the little slits. One a bit smoother. And I'm just gonna trim it. There we go. And again, just really come through and make sure everything's nice and smooth down. So with the tumbler that I seen that Jessica did, she did like feathers, I think, coming off of it, but I think I want to do more like a coral look for mine. So I think I'm going to put the turtles down first, and then I'll come through and do the coral, because I don't really know where I want the turtles yet, and I want to make sure that they're down first on my tumbler first. So I'm going to do that next. All right, so we're ready to apply our water slides. What do I got here? Got a bunch of these little watercolor turtles. I got them right off Creative Fabrica. Again, I just printed them out on clear water slide paper, and if you need help with that, I do have a video on that, and I'll make sure to tag that right here for you guys if you need help with how to seal your water slides. So, you know I just want them kind of looking like they're poking through the water rather than like full on saturated. I want them to look like they're in the water. So that's why I went ahead with this route with the turtles, so that way they just kind of look more faded out. So hopefully, you know, that turns out the way I want it to. So let's go ahead and get these guys applied really quick. So when I'm working with these curvy surfaces, you see how it start to kind of pull up just a little bit. The great thing about these clear water slides, or water slides, there we go, oh my goodness, is if you just keep working with it, as long as it's sealed up very well, you should be able to manipulate it enough to get it curved around the way that you would like, and all those little seams will be pushed down nice. So that's the main thing I can say about that. As long as it's sealed up really good, you should be able to get all those little wrinkles out, no problem. Just keep working with it, tugging it, stretching it, getting it to form the way that you want. And there you go. Nice and smooth. There you go. All right, so I think to finish up where the turtles go, I'm not going to use this guy because I already used him here, so I didn't want to do that again. If I wanted to, I should have reversed it so that way it looked like he was floating the other way or something, but that's all good. So I'm taking some of his fish off his back here, and I'm going to place it onto the handle kind of right here because, like I said, I think I'm going to add some rhinestones here to kind of cover up where I forgot to spray paint. So, so I'm just going to get these little guys on here. Hopefully that turns out okay. Just kind of wrap it around. You can see the blue one better than the yellow one, but that's okay. Get that all smoothed out. Now I'm gonna let this stuff dry because then we're gonna come through and I'm gonna add some kind of coral looks branching off to each side of our little presents here. So I'm just gonna finish this up, let that dry probably for about, I don't know, maybe about 30 minutes or so on the cup. Make sure it's nice and dry, and we'll move on to the next step. All right, now that that is dry for the most part, I'm gonna come through and make some coral coming off to each side. I think that's what I wanna do. I wanna just do some coral kind of branching off to each side on the back and the front. So I'm gonna use this, what is that? It looks coral, but I think it says light orange. So coral enough for me. So I made sure that I shook that up really good. Made sure my inks are coming out all right. Let me just do that one more time. There we go. So now all I'm gonna do is just real squiggly lines, you know. Coral's kind of like that. It's kind of, if you don't feel comfortable doing it on this surface, I'd go ahead, you know, go ahead and put another coat of epoxy over top so that way you can wipe stuff away. But I'm just gonna move forward with this, like this, okay? So. So I'm just gonna start at the, right where it meets in the center here, and just do real zigzaggy coral look here. Now, I think I'm just gonna come through now and add some little wispies coming off my coral. I don't know, you know, coral looks all kinds of different ways. It can look however you want. So I'm just gonna add some little, maybe, what are they, anemones? Anemones, sure. So I'm just doing these little wispy motions here and there off my coral. Maybe they just were floating around in the ocean, decided to stop here and make a home. All right, now I'm just gonna let that dry a second. I'm gonna come through and add some more of my little bubble glitter to it before I get another coat of epoxy onto it. All right, now that that's dry, I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna add some more of these. I'm just gonna glue them down, but I want it more around, so it's gonna be very random. I sprinkled some down, and I'm just gonna make sure they're nice and pressed, these bigger ones. All right, so I have it kind of, it's going up over the coral, just like that. So, and that's pretty much gonna be the, we're making an area for our rhinestones to go into. We have flat back pearls, we have rhinestones that we're going to apply after we get a nice coating of epoxy, but I just wanted these underneath, kind of giving it a little bit more dimension. So that's all I did here. I'm just gonna repeat that on the back here. Is it art if you don't make a mess? I mean, you know, you gotta make a mess. That's how you know you're making good art. All right, now I'm just gonna let this dry completely and be ready to put another coating of epoxy over top. All right, we are back. I have its final coat of epoxy. Look at those bubbles under, they're so cool. So I have that on. I'm gonna put it onto my little blinging machine that I showed you guys last week, I believe, right? Yeah, it was last week. All right, get that on there and we're gonna put some rhinestones. I think I'm only gonna put the rhinestones on one side and leave the other side kind of as it is. So I'm trying to decide which side. I think I want this side to be my front, and I also gotta get the handle a little bit as well. So that's what we're gonna be doing now. So I thought about doing flat back pearls, but I don't know, I think I don't want to do that, but I will make sure that I put which ones I'm gonna be using, because I know I'm gonna be using these. I believe those are mermaid tears, and I think I wanna use this, it's kind of like a bluish gold. I really like that. I think that would go really well with this. So I think I'm gonna use that as well. I'm gonna use the bigger ones and maybe the medium, probably just more of the bigger ones. And then I'm gonna use a variety of sizes of this kind. So I think those are the two that I'm gonna be using, and I will make sure to put these down in the description box for you guys. All right, I got my little rhinestones all set out like that. Like it turns from like a golden color to like a purpley blue, very pretty. And of course these are gorgeous as well. And I'm just gonna do pretty much like how Jessica did in her tutorial. Again, if you want to see her tutorial on how she did hers, I'll make sure to put that down in the description box for you guys as well. So this came complete inspiration from that. I've been really wanting to do it, and I just knew I wanted to be kind of outside the box. And this doesn't have to be a Christmas tumbler. This could also be for like milestone birthdays. Like I just turned 40 this year. This could be a cool like birthday cup or something like that. It doesn't have to be just Christmas or holidays. So I think that's pretty cool. So now I'm just gonna move on to placing my rhinestones. All right, now that that's dried a little bit, we're gonna come through and do the top of this handle here. So this is what I got. Like it. See just the little bubbles underneath, very nice. All right, so now I'm just gonna kind of put some on the handle here. I think I'm just gonna use these kind of mermaid looking ones for up here. Now I'm just gonna let that dry and then we'll take a look at it. All right, well that was a lot of fun. I think I'm getting better with my rhinestoning. I think I'm getting more and more comfortable, you know. I'm going to show you a better close-up view here. So I just really love how it all just tied together. You know, I had this vision in my head, and I'm just so happy that it turned out the way that I expected. So that's nice when that happens, because I was going to show you guys either way. You know me, I'll show you. I don't care. But I'm really happy with how that turned out. Like I said, the more you practice with rhinestoning, the better you will become. So that was a lot of fun. All right, guys, so Christmas is next Sunday, so there won't be a vlog next Sunday, but when we do come back, we are going to get started on that order we talked about. Okay, that's when we'll get started. The weather was just, I didn't feel like going out there and spray painting, so and there's also a couple other things I want to show you guys that I had bought, so I'm pretty excited to show you guys. I got to look into it. It's going to be another one of those things that I need to look into really good before I start using it to really feel comfortable to kind of tell you guys how to use it. But you'll definitely follow along with me while I learn as well. We'll follow along together, and you guys can give me pointers if you want to, because I'm always open for suggestions. There we go. We're always constantly learning in this art, and I think that's one thing that we have to keep in mind. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. There's always going to be new techniques that you just have to constantly keep up with. So I'm not ashamed to be like, I don't know anything about that. Because this is something that I don't know anything about. So so when we come back, not this Sunday, but the Sunday after, we'll kind of get started on this new thing that I'll be looking into. So I'm pretty excited. But I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season. I hope that you guys find peace, find joy, find love in whatever form that you do for this holiday season. I hope you have an amazing week, an amazing weekend, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.